Hi, welcome to the channel if it's your first time, and welcome back if you are tuning back in. My name is Stephanie Weeks, and I've been a loan officer for over 18 years. And today we're going to talk about how getting a home loan actually takes a lot of teamwork. So I like to refer to getting a mortgage as a puzzle. And what happens is when you're putting that puzzle together, if there's any missing pieces to where you cannot see that full-blown picture, then you're not going to get the home loan. And no assumptions can fill those blanks. No woulda, coulda, shoulda can fill that blank. Like, it's got to be hardcore paperwork and putting pieces together without any missing pieces. And I know that getting a home loan can be really frustrating. I saw a stat this morning, I was actually reading unrelated, where like 64% of people were frustrated with their mortgage process so much that they didn't even want to consider doing a refinance because they were so aggravated with the process. And it is a little annoying, but I think that it's more of miscommunication, lack of communication, misunderstanding, and things like that. So hopefully this video kind of help you out with that today. With you and your loan officer, keep in mind, the loan officer and the underwriter, they want to give you the loan. Just about all of us are paid on incentives. Even down to the underwriter at a lot of companies are paid on incentives. And if they don't have files to underwrite and approve, then they actually might be jobless. So believe it or not, we all want the loan to go through, because sometimes I've heard people say, about other companies and stuff like that, like, I don't even think they want the loan to go through. They definitely do. But the main part about that teamwork is to be nice and be pleasant and don't shoot the messenger. If you're mean to the loan officer, you're mean to the processor, or you write something really crappy that ends up to the underwriter, like, that's not helping your case. You want to, catch more flies with honey than with vinegar? Is that how it goes? Why would you use vinegar to catch flies? Anyway, I don't know, but I think you get what I'm saying. And so you really want to be nice, and you want to work with them, and you want to be part of their team. It's like you're on the same team as those team members. And when it comes to that puzzle, some of the things that kind of come up that are a little bit aggravating are things like, why do you need all the pages of my bank statement if one page is missing, or one page is blank, basically? Well, that's because you could have $100,000 on pages 1 through 4, and page 5 could show that you've actually secured that loan, a loan against that money, and you don't have that money. So that's one of the reasons. And because, remember, nothing can be assumed, and everything has to have an endpoint to it. So no one can assume what's on that last page. No one can assume that last page is blank. Some of the other things are like, we have a lot of regulation in banking where we have to chase the money, basically. So if money just shows up in your account, it's not okay that it came from your safe. It's not okay that it came from your mattress. It's got to be sourced all the way back. Like, even if, let's say, you're selling something. I had someone selling a golf cart recently, and that is perfectly fine as long as we can show that the golf cart sold and it traded hands and there's a bill of sale, and we have somewhere to look up to make sure that that golf cart was worth $4,000 and it sold $4,000, not that it was a $4,000 golf cart that you sold to your cousin for $20,000 to try to source money for a mortgage loan. So they're really privy and really smart to things like that, and that's why we really have to source all the way basically to the end of that. Some of the other aggravating things are that not only do we get check stubs, but we also get W-2s. Not always, but sometimes you need tax returns. And in addition to that, we even need to verify the employment with the employer, and we send a form to them to come back to make sure everything matches. And then even on top of that, we send a form to the IRS for that to come back to make sure everything matches. And it is silly, and it's a lot of redundancy, but you can thank those people who committed all the fraud, and now we all have to kind of pay for it and make sure that these things all go through and that everything can be totally accounted for. So when I say be a team, that means that, get everything to your loan officer or processor as soon as physically possible. Give them everything that they need. Be neat and diligent about it, because if you send stuff in disarray, well, then they're trying to put it together and they don't even know what they're looking at, because every bank is different. Their statements look different. Check stubs are different. Payroll companies are different. So the easier and simpler that you can convey the information to your loan officer or processor, the better team member that you are, and the more likely you are to go through the home loan process without a hitch. As I mentioned, I've been a loan officer for over 18 years, and the Weeks team would love to help you with your financing. We can be reached at weeksteam.com or 985-300-LOAN. Please reach out, as we would love to help you. Now back to the material, which is most important. Another piece that kind of gets a little frustrating is tax returns. Your team member might say, hey, you sent me page 1 of your tax returns, but I'm gonna need all those other pages and all those missing schedules. And the customer's like, or the borrower's like, well, why? Doesn't page 1 have all the information? It's a summary of all the information. It doesn't have the breakdown of what was given or calculated in order to get to that summary and those totals. Specifically when it comes to like a W-2, which is only one of probably 15 examples, but with the W-2, they'll say, well, isn't that W-2 total on the tax return? And it is, but is it one W-2? Is it 10 that made up that total? Is it a spouse? Is it you that made up that total? Like the W-2s are those pieces to the puzzle. The IRS transcripts are the pieces to the puzzle. The verification from the employer, pieces to the puzzle, things like that. When it comes to those tax returns also, there are other schedules on there like the Schedule A or the Schedule C, Schedule E. Those are things that we commonly see and look at. There are a lot more than that, but those are some of the examples, and those can lead to other paperwork being needed because they lead us to unfinished ends. And remember, everything has to basically come to a dead end, if you will. No assumptions. Everything has to match, and all the puzzle has to go together. And the other thing that's really important that I want to kind of finish up with for you today is knowledge is power. So, of course, ask questions, and you want to understand what's going on, and you want to understand why. Absolutely, that's the case. But please do it nicely, because remember, we're all on the same team, and we all want the loan to go through. So if you're like, hey, totally, I'll send you those tax returns, but I just don't understand. How come you need all of them? And then we can explain that versus, well, I already sent you page 1, that's all you need. That's ridiculous. Why would you need the other pages? Like, let's go the nicer route. Remember the honey scenario? So I hope this helps. Please keep in mind that we are all part of the same team, whether it's a purchase or a refinance. Your lender, your processor, your real estate agent, like everybody's working together in order to try to see this to not only a closing, but a smooth and on time closing. So be part of that team, be a good player, a team player, and you'll have success in the end.